So hopefully, you know, we won't be running. Hey guys, Kevin here with Texas Veteran Power Outdoors. So I have kind of a cool video for you today. We're not going to be talking about power tools. We're not going to be showing video clips of trimming or mowing or anything like that, or awesome, powerful McCulloch chainsaws. But what we're going to be covering is something that all of us face, no matter where you live. Mostly in the South, I think you're going to come across this. The North, you have your fair share of these types of things, and then in other parts of the country I'm sure you have something similar. But what I'm talking about is wasp, yellow jackets, these kinds of guys who want to come out and sting you while you're working. I've been stung before. In fact, this year was the first time I've ever been stung, ever, by any type of flying bee, wasp, yellow jacket, whatever you want to call it. And I got stung right here on the hand, and that was the first time. And I tell you what, it was pretty powerful sting. I've never been stung by anything else, so I can't really compare it to. I wasn't crying or anything. But okay, so you guys are probably wondering, okay, well, what does this and wasp and yellow jackets have in common? Okay, well, a lot of you guys, including myself, used to use a lot of products out there, Wasp Killer spray. Then there's all kinds of brands. You know, I can't even think of the names right now off the top of my head. But there's all kinds of brands. We've all bought it. You know, the $7 stuff works as good as the $2 stuff. But it's expensive. It doesn't last long. And when you get up to a nest where these bees are, you know, you don't want to be messing around and all of a sudden you're spraying and it's starting to, you know, run out and you're getting attacked. So, a lot of times, you spray that stuff on these wasps and they still fly off and you're wondering what the world's going on. Now, out of all that stuff, what I like the best, and it comes in different brands, so the brand name really doesn't matter, but what I like is the foam, the kind that foams up really fast. And normally in my truck I keep a couple cans of that stuff before I decide to do something different, and we're going to talk about that. And I would shotgun it. And that's the other thing. If you guys don't want to use the method I'm about to show you, and you still want to, you know, use these other cans and chemicals, that's totally cool. Make sure you have one in each hand, because what will happen is when you're up here spraying, one will fly off. Well, while you're spraying that, you can get that guy. You know, so you know, just kind of be aware of that. Okay. So those chemicals could be harmful to you, they could be harmful to the environment, and then you got this can left over. Okay, so here's how we can avoid that. Now, what I'm about to show you has been around for longer than I've been on this planet, and I'm 40 years old. It's been around a long time. Okay, so I picked this up from an old customer of mine. He's an old rancher. He's like 80-something years old. He's like, man, because I had to kill a wasp nest underneath where his roof deal was in the back porch. And he says, man, what are you using there, Kev? And I said, well, I'm using this can, whatever it was. He says, man, let me show you something I've been doing for 60 years. I was like, ooh, wow, okay. So, here's what it is. You take any size container that's a pump spray. This one's a 1 gallon. It doesn't matter what brand. What you want to make sure is the tip you have on here is the kind that's this type of tip that allows you to have a real strong stream for further distance, or you can adjust it and it'll fan out for a wider shape, okay, for closer targets and things like that. Okay, so you want to make sure you have a pump spray. I have a 4-gallon. I have a one 4-gallon pump spray, a 2-gallon pump spray, and a 1-gallon pump spray. But I'm going to use this one as I'm going to dedicate this one to what we're about to talk about. But I want to look at getting one that's an electric backpack sprayer, so that way maybe I can get it to shoot a little further. That's kind of my ultimate goal. Okay, so you fill it up with water, up to your 1-gallon mark. Could probably use a little more in there, but 1 gallon, or you can even fill it up more than that. And you take this. Now, it doesn't have to be this brand, this HEB brand, it's grocery store. You may not have HEB where you live, because I think HEB is only in Texas, but it's just a store brand hand dish soap, ultra concentrated. Okay, that's what I got. So now the cool thing about this is 22 fluid ounces, and it was $1.68. So we're going to pour this whole guy in there. Oh, and for those who are wondering, it's peppermint mocha. Doesn't matter what scent it is. It actually smells rather nice. It doesn't matter what scent it is. You just want to get the cheapest one, because you don't need a $6 palm olive bottle. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to pour that in here. Now you're probably wondering, what in the world are you doing, man? Because this is it. We're not adding any chemicals. We're not adding anything else. We're just putting this guy in there, and that's it. So let's talk about these insects for a second and how this is going to help you. Okay, insects don't have wasps and stuff that, well, no insects have lungs like we do. Okay, they don't breathe in oxygen and carbon dioxide and things like that. They don't have any of that. Their blood doesn't carry oxygen. In fact, their blood is like a yellowish, kind of watery substance of some kind. But what these insects do have is a system called trachea. Okay, these trachea tubes, and they are located on the sides of their abdomen. Okay, basically on the sides of their whole body, both sides. And oxygen that we're breathing comes in through there, through these things called spiracles. Okay, they're little short circles, small circles, and every abdomen has 2 spiracles. Okay, so it goes in there, the trachea tubes, they whine and do all this other kind of stuff inside the body, and then it's what gives these insects what they need to breathe. Their body breaks it down and does all this, scientific stuff. I'm not trying to get all, educated on you or anything. But anyway, so like you can't drown insects because they can close those spiracles, and then their bodies allow them to float. Now you're probably wondering, well, how long can a insect live underwater? Well, as long as there's an air bubble, they can live as long as they can. They'll attach themselves to an air bubble, and they'll feed off that oxygen as long as they can. Okay, so that's how wasps and other insects breathe. So what does this got to do with all that? Well, here's what happens. If we were to, let me give you an example. If we were to take you, okay, and put your head underwater, okay, and you try to open your mouth, try to breathe, you can't breathe, right? There's no oxygen. You can't breathe. It's water. It's not what you need to breathe. So by this stuff, because you know how thick this type of detergent is, this hand soap detergent is, and being concentrated doesn't take much, and it goes a long ways. What happens is when you spray those insects, this stuff being so thick just coats their body, and they can't breathe through that, and it suffocates them. In fact, they can't even take in air in order to get the energy to fly off, which is so cool. So and it's less than $2. I mean, you can't beat that. Water's right out of your faucet. There's nothing else. I've tried this. I've tried 2 gallons worth of this stuff. I've tried this stuff. I've also tried laundry detergent with a little bit of borax in there. I wanted to try a couple of different things, so I went through 2 gallons of experiment product, and I came back to this one. This is the cheapest, and it is the best for what we're doing here. You can even add another one of these if you really want to thicken it up, and I might, because it's only it's $1.68. I may add another one to it just to keep it real thick, and so that way that's less product I'm spraying at a time. So here's what I do. You shake it up real good, okay, before you're getting ready to spray your deal, and you pump it real good, and you test spray it. Always test spray before you approach a nest. You want to make sure you're prepared, okay? So you test spray it, make sure you got the fan, you know, whether it's a straight stream or the fan that you want, get all that first. Because once you start spraying, you can't change anything, okay? So you get all that, you pump all that, and you get up to your nest and you just hose. You know, you just hose and you keep going on them, you know, and back and forth, make a little wavy pattern or spray right on them, whatever you want. Just coat them really good, and within a couple minutes, they're going to die. They will fall right off that nest on the ground, on their back, doing the dying cockroach, and they're going to die. Now, some of them will die on the nest because they're clenching onto that nest, trying to fight, you know, this stuff. Well, just like, you know, when we're trying to breathe for something, our muscles clench, so they'll end up dying on the nest, but they'll be stuck to it because those little small hairs on their little feet, you know, stick to anything that they land on. So anyway, so this works, and we're going to find ourselves a couple of nests to try this out on, so we can show you guys. It has to be a nest that's close enough to where we can set the camera up to where you can see what's going on, because it's just me. So it'd be kind of tricky, but I have a couple properties that I've been waiting to use this on for the video, and my other properties I've already tried it, so I'm completely convinced this is all I'll ever use now. And this gallon will go a long ways. So it's safe for the environment, and I mean, it's fantastic. So I use it a lot when I go to properties that I haven't done before. You know, one of the first things I do when I'm doing my estimates, I look around, look for bee nests, because if I can eliminate those guys, then that increases my chances of not getting stung. And then when you're going around the fence, you know, they got the post that comes up and the 2x4 that lays across. They like to be up there in that little corner. And as I'm doing my estimate, I'll look on the corners, you know, as I'm going around the property, and I'll look. And then if they're there, I'll take a note. Then before I get started, I'll go get this, spray it. That way they're all done. And whenever I go to properties, as I'm trimming, I'm just casually looking ahead. You know, as I'm trimming, I'm looking, and I'm just always cautious of that, because you don't want to be this close as you're going by the fence, you know, and a wasp comes out and they sting you in the face. You don't want that. So try to think ahead, and you know, and that'll help you out for sure. So this product, I promise you, it's going to work, because I have tested it. And so I'm pretty excited about sharing this with you guys, and I'm glad that old farmer shared it with me. And but anyway, so we're going to go ahead and go to a couple properties and show you guys how this works. So why don't you come along? So that's a wasp nest right there. I know it's not all quite that clear, but they're sitting there, and it's kind of, you know, mid-morning, so they're chilling. They're not out doing stuff yet. They're behind the nest a little bit. So we're going to take our homemade wasp spray. I got it pumped up, and we're going to get them. And you overload with so much. You make sure it's nice and soapy and ready to go. So hopefully, you know, we won't be running. Sorry. See that? See how that worked, guys? See, they're dying. Not one of them flew off the nest, and they're dead. This homemade dishwashing soap and water, that's it, is what this concoction is. Let's see if we can get you guys a little bit closer. Look at that. They're dead. They're not even moving. I've been stung by one of those guys before. They would straight up kill you, or straight up sting the heck out of you. Now there's another nest right around here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right there. So we got to set the camera up on the other side. We're going to pause it, and then we'll set it back up. Alright, guys. pump our spray bottle out of the way where they don't see what we're doing. Now, I think I'm going to come around the corner where they can't see me. Element of surprise. There's probably 15 wasps on there. These are yellow jackets now. The other nest had red wasps on it. No, there's probably 20 on this one. Now, they're dying in place, so this stuff suffocates them, so it causes their muscles, you know, some of them they'll either hold on as tight as they can to try to, you know, hold their breath or whatever, or start choking. The other ones just kind of let go and they fall to the ground. That's it. They're all gone. I mean, they're there, but they're dead. Yeah. See if we can get you guys a little closer. All right, hold on. Yeah, those guys are dead. And of course, the ones down here, wherever they're at, they're lost in the soap, but they're all dead too. And that's it right there. That's that gallon, or that 2 gallon we mixed up, but I think we just made 1 gallon. So we made the video back in the fall of us mixing the spray. Today was actually the first time we were able to use it, so it's been months since we made the first part of the video. I was hoping I would have come across a wasp nest to be able to do that. And I have come across a couple, but the light wasn't good enough to where I could set the camera up to do it so you guys could see what I'm doing. So I had to wait till the opportunity, you know, presented itself to where I could do that. So I'm going to put this video together when I get home with the first part of mixing and everything, and then put it together and get it up for you guys tonight. I'm Kevin with Texas Veteran Power Outdoors. See you guys next time.